The WNBA is effectively frozen, and the league office doesn't want you to look at the fine print of the official moratorium memo that just hit the wire. On January 12, 2026, a document surfaced that changed the trajectory of professional women's basketball forever, officially suspending all league operations as the collective bargaining agreement negotiations hit a total dead end. We aren't just talking about a delay in the schedule or a few missed practices. We're looking at a full-scale operational freeze that has left the world's best players in a legal and professional limbo. While the media is calling it a standard negotiation tactic, the digital breadcrumbs left by the players tell a much darker story of betrayal, shadow leagues, and a changing of the guard that has turned into an all-out civil war. This isn't just about salaries anymore. This is a complete systemic collapse of the most successful era in the history of the league, and the smoking gun is hidden in a deleted Instagram story from a rookie locker room. The league is trying to keep this timeline quiet, but we're tracking every deleted post and every hidden signal in the tunnel walks. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you get the evidence before it's scrubbed, because this investigation is the only place you'll find the receipts they're trying to bury. By joining this investigation, you ensure that the narrative isn't controlled by the front office, but by the actual facts of the timeline. The spark that lit this entire fuse wasn't a boardroom meeting, but a series of cryptic social media maneuvers during the final week of December 2025. It started when Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, the two faces of the new generation, both shared the same black and white image of a locked gym door within minutes of each other. Within an hour, those posts were gone, replaced by generic sponsor content, but the message had already been sent to the locker rooms across the country. The old guard, led by legends like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, have been vocal about the dues the younger players haven't paid. But the 2026 CBA strike isn't about respect anymore, it's about the money. Specifically, it's about the massive revenue-sharing model that the league refuses to concede, even as jersey sales and ratings have hit 10x what they were 3 years ago. When Commissioner Kathy Engelbert released the Operations Suspended memo, she cited financial instability, but the forensic analysis of the league's most recent tax filings tells a very different story, of record-breaking profits being funneled into executive bonuses, while players are still fighting for private charter flights for every game. To understand why this moratorium feels so much like a personal vendetta, we have to go back to the 2026 draft night. The atmosphere was already toxic after the unrivaled 3x3 league announced its massive expansion rosters, effectively siphoning off the top talent before the WNBA season even tipped off. The tension reached a breaking point on the podcast A Touch More with Sue Bird. During an episode that aired just as the moratorium was being drafted, Bird pointedly mentioned that the infrastructure of the league wasn't built for the ego of the modern era. She didn't name names, but she didn't have to. The camera caught a micro-expression of pure frustration when her co-host mentioned the marketing budgets for the incoming 2026 rookie class, specifically the astronomical figures surrounding Paige Becker's debut. This isn't just about a contract, it's about a legacy being dismantled by players who haven't even finished their first 5 years in the league. The veterans feel the history is being erased, while the new stars feel the veterans are holding the game back from its true financial potential. The history of this beef goes deeper than the 2026 strike. We have to look at the 2023 and 2024 NCAA seasons to see where the poison started. The rivalry between Clark's Iowa and Angel Reese's LSU wasn't just a sports story, it was a cultural shift that the WNBA establishment wasn't ready to handle. When Reese made the "you can't see me" gesture in the 2023 championship, it wasn't just a taunt, it was the birth of a brand that bypasses traditional league filters. Fast forward to 2026, and that brand is now a weapon. While the WNBA is in a state of operations suspended, the players have already built their escape hatch, the unrivaled 3x3 league. The veterans saw this coming during the 2024 Olympics when the selection drama surrounding Caitlin Clark left a permanent rift in the locker room. On the podcast Post Moves with Candace Parker, it was recently revealed that the Vet Committee had a private group chat specifically designed to manage the media circus of the rookies, which the younger players interpreted as a coordinated effort to suppress their earning power. The unrivaled rosters for this season are the true smoking gun. Paige Beckers is headlining the Breeze BC expansion team alongside Cameron Brink. Rickea Jackson is there. Aaliyah Boston is there. The new wave isn't waiting for the CBA to be signed. They're playing in a league that they effectively own, in a 3x3 format that prioritizes high-speed drama over traditional 5x5 structures. The WNBA office viewed the unrivaled as a niche off-season project, but the 2026 rosters reveal a terrifying reality for the league. The talent has already left the building. When Natasha Cloud went on a live stream last week, she admitted that the conversations in the player group chats aren't about when the WNBA season starts, but about whether the unrivaled model is the real future of the sport. The physical toll of the 2025 season plays a massive role here too. We saw hard fouls that weren't about the ball, they were messages sent from the locker room. Remember the mid-court collision between a veteran guard and Caitlin Clark in the final weeks before the playoffs? The league called it a common foul, but look at the tunnel walk after that game. Clark didn't say a word to the media, but she wore a vintage 1996 Olympic jersey, a subtle nod to a time before the current CBA structure even existed. It was a silent declaration of war against the status quo, and the 2026 moratorium is the league's attempt to regain control. Let's talk about the digital forensics of the Shadow League. We've been monitoring the likes on Angel Reese's secondary IG account. She's been hearting comments that suggest the WNBA needs the players more than the players need the logo. This sentiment is the driving force behind the 2026 strike. The players are no longer grateful just to have a professional league. They are demanding a piece of the empire they've built. The old guard, the Tarasis and the Grinders, are stuck in a position where they have to defend the league they spent 20 years building, while the new wave is ready to burn it down to build something more profitable. On her podcast, Unapologetically Angel, she recently dropped a bombshell that the media ignored. She said, "Some people are playing for the trophy and some are playing for the legacy, but we're playing for the check because the check is the only thing that's real when the lights go out." This is the core of the 2026 operational freeze. The professional stakes have eclipsed the personal animosity, yet the personal animosity is what makes the negotiations impossible. The league moratorium memo itself is a masterclass in corporate gaslighting. It uses phrases like preserving the long-term viability of the sport and ensuring competitive balance. But if you look at the 2026 CBA demands, the players are asking for something the league has never given: true ownership. They want equity. They want a percentage of the TV deals that they, and they alone, have driven to historic heights. During the 2025 WNBA Finals, the body language between the players and the league executives during the trophy presentation was icy at best. There was no eye contact, no shared smiles. It looked like a divorce settlement rather than a championship celebration. We analyzed the footage of the tunnel walk during Game 4, and the players weren't wearing team gear. They were wearing "The Future is Unrivaled" hoodies. This was a coordinated protest that the league tried to edit out of the broadcast, but the fans in the arena caught it all on their phones. The history of the old guard versus the new wave reaches back to the very first time Caitlin Clark stepped onto a WNBA court and was met with a level of physicality that bordered on the personal. The veterans claimed they were just welcome to the league moments, but the digital receipts show a different story. We tracked a series of likes from veteran accounts on posts that criticized the hype surrounding the 2024 draft class. This created a culture of us versus them that has now culminated in a total work stoppage. The 2026 CBA strike isn't just a labor dispute, it's a referendum on who owns the soul of women's basketball. Is it the women who played for pennies and built the foundation, or the women who brought the cameras, the private jets, and the billion-dollar valuations? The stakes are higher than they've ever been because of the 2026 FIBA World Cup and the looming 2028 Olympic cycle. The USA basketball camp at Duke in December 2025 was supposed to be a unity event, bringing the vets and the rookies together to show a united front against the league office. Instead, it was a disaster of body language. We analyzed the practice footage. You didn't see Clark and Taurasi in the same frame for more than 3 seconds. When they were forced to run drills together, the spacing was awkward and the communication was non-existent. Sue Bird, acting as the managing director, looked visibly stressed in every sideline shot. She's caught between the league she represents and the players she once led, and her silence during the moratorium announcement spoke volumes. When she finally did speak on her podcast, her voice cracked when discussing the loss of sisterhood in the league. That wasn't just drama, that was the sound of a league's culture breaking in real time. The unrivaled 3x3 league has become the shadow WNBA because it offers something the 2026 CBA won't: freedom. In the 3x3 format, players have more control over their schedules and their branding. The 2026 rosters reveal that almost every major Nike and Jordan brand athlete has committed to Unrivaled, leaving the WNBA with a massive talent gap if the season were to actually start. The Operation Suspended memo was a desperate attempt to stop the bleeding, but it may have had the opposite effect. By locking the players out, the league has given them more time to focus on their own ventures. We've seen leaked screenshots of private Discord servers where the players are discussing a permanent moratorium, a scenario where they never return to the WNBA and instead turn Unrivaled into a full-year professional circuit. This is the nightmare scenario for the 14 WNBA franchise owners who have seen their valuations skyrocket only to have the talent walk out the door. In the final weeks of 2025, a specific receipt surfaced that many missed. A deleted tweet from a high-level league executive's burner account suggested that the league was prepared to wait out the players because they didn't have the savings to survive a long strike. This backfired spectacularly when the younger players, many of whom have multi-million-dollar NIL and endorsement deals that far exceed their WNBA salaries, responded by posting screenshots of their business portfolios. The new wave isn't dependent on a WNBA paycheck, and that is a level of leverage the league office has never dealt with before. This financial independence is what allowed the 2026 strike to happen in the first place. The vets might need the league to survive, but the stars like Clark, Reese, and Buchers are their own economies. The league moratorium isn't a pause, it's a reset. If the WNBA doesn't cave to the revenue-sharing demands by the March deadline, we are looking at a permanent shift in how women's basketball is consumed. The Unrivaled League is already talking about expanding to a 5x5 format, and with the backing of private equity, they don't need the WNBA's permission. The old guard is watching their house catch fire, and the new wave is the one holding the matches. The reality is that the 2026 season might not happen at all, and the official memorandum will likely be updated with more restrictions as the legal battles intensify. The soap opera has moved from the court to the courtroom, and the receipts are piling up faster than the league can scrub them. Our prediction? Expect a massive defection announcements by the end of the month. One of the top 5 stars in the league is rumored to be filing a lawsuit to void her contract entirely, citing the moratorium as a breach of the good faith clause in the CBA. If that happens, the floodgates will open, and the WNBA as we know it will be over. The league office is terrified of the Miami meetings, where the top stars allegedly met with venture capitalists to fund their own league. If you want to see the footage of the tunnel walk that the league actually tried to ban from the broadcast, you need to watch our next deep dive into the secret Miami meetings that happened during the unrivaled tip-off. The truth is hidden in plain sight, and we are the only ones willing to spill it.